We're going to look now at the file systems that you need to know about for your MTA exam. Now, a file system is simply the rules by which files are organized on a disk. Early file systems were FAT32. Actually, there were versions before that. There was a FAT8, or just called FAT, a FAT12, FAT16, and then a FAT32. But FAT32 is the kind of the earliest one that we care about for our purposes. You can have up to a 4 gigabyte volume with FAT32, which of course was fine for flash drives until they began to get bigger than 4 gigabytes. And it still is sort of the default for flash drives, for most flash drives. However, with FAT, no encryption, no compression, no permissions, no sharing. All of that is a function of NTFS. In fact, sometimes permissions, we call them security permissions. We also call them NTFS permissions sometimes, because that functionality is provided by NTFS. If we want large flash drives, those bigger than 4 gigabytes, we quite often use the EXFAT or extended FAT, which can have up to 128 petabyte volume limits or 16 exabyte file size limit. So they can be very, very large. So this is used for those large flash drives. Now, both FAT32 and exFAT can have up to 255 characters in file names. And when we say 255 characters, we're not just talking about the file name itself, but the entire path. And in fact, on earlier systems such as Windows XP, it was not uncommon for somebody to create a file name in a path, which is in a path, which in a folder, which is in a folder, which is in a folder, which is in a folder, and have them too long. And it certainly lets you create them and use them, but then when you try to copy them or back them up, it doesn't work. And so you have to be careful about those path names as well. The NTFS file system does support encryption, compression, permissions, and sharing. It also does something called journaling. By journaling, we mean that it keeps track of the changes when you write to that flash or to that disk, whatever that disk is. By tracking those changes, it can heal itself somewhat. So if there is corrupted data, it has a good chance of uncorrupting that data. And so that journaling system is really nice, although it does slow it down a little because it's constantly reading and writing, keeping up that journal system. It is the standard on which we install Windows today. Both the Windows installation disk itself and the other hard drives and solid-state drives around it are almost always on NTFS today. Since Server 2012, which occurred in about the year 2012, of course, and up, Microsoft has supplied another file system capability called REFS, or Resilient File System, and it is really primarily designed for and used for external storage. Now, we do not put REFS on an installation disk. In other words, you can't even install Windows to an REFS disk if you want to. It can't be done. And you also can't install apps on an REFS disk. So it is designed just for that storage. However, it is highly reliable, which is of course why we have RE, Resilient, because of the reliability of it.